Hello, my dear learners. Welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start learning. Let's start exploring. This is Sukriti Joshi, and let's start where we left off. So everybody looked sad, and Hauser had brought an old primer, thumbed, that is, very torn at the edges. That means we are talking about the old book, right? And he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages. So we are talking about the torn out and the worn out pages that the old book is supposed to be comprising of, right? While I was wondering about it all, M.HAMEL mounted his chair in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me. Said, "My children, this is the last lesson. This is the last lesson." So now what did he say? He said, "My children, this is the last lesson. Right? I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to basically teach only in German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine." So whenever we are talking about these two districts, Alsace and Lorraine, basically what had passed, the order had come stating that the order had come from Berlin, that stating that only German would be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine, and French would be discontinued, right? So basically German would take place of French. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive. So now the teacher M.HAMEL is stating that now I want you to be very attentive, right? What a thunderclap these words were to me. That means these words were like a thunderclap, like a storm. Oh, the wretches. That was what they had put up at the town hall. So this is what was put up in the town hall. Remember, in the very beginning of the lesson we talked about the bulletin board and we talked about the town hall. So again, that reference has been given over here, right? Now he remembers. Now he is able to recollect. Now he is able to recall, right? My French lesson, my last French lesson. Why? I hardly knew how to write. I should never learn any more. I must stop there then. Oh, how sorry I was for not learning my lessons, for seeking birds' eggs or going sliding on the saw. My books that had seemed such a nuisance a while ago, so heavy. So basically herein we are talking about that my battery, okay, the battery of the computer is spinning. Okay, so what a thunderclap these words were to me. Oh, the wretches. That was what they had put up at the town hall. My last French lesson. So this was M.HAMEL's last French lesson. Why? I hardly knew how to write, and he did not know. When we talk about France, he did not know even a single thing about this, about his own language, about his own mother tongue. So we are talking about that we do not pay attention to the minor or to the major things. We do not pay attention even to the major things that we are supposed to. We try to delay things, but by delaying things what we get is not something that is exquisite. In fact, it is the opposite of it. By delaying things, by keeping things, thinking that I'll do this later. For instance, if you as a student is doing some question or is given some task or is given some homework by the teacher, suppose I allot you this, that you are after this reading of the lesson, you'll be doing the meanings, you'll be writing down the meanings of the words, you'll be writing down the answers of the questions, you'll try at least, and you do not end up doing it. So that is what you are delaying. That means you are delaying, you are not paying attention, you are not being attentive, you are not, you are distracted, and you are not paying attention to how important studying a language, studying literature means, right? It's just not a language, it basically helps you in order to have your identity intact, right? So how sorry I was for not learning my lessons, for seeking birds' eggs. Now he was regretting. We get to see that how he was regretting that, how he earlier used to be bothered about the eggs, birds' eggs, but now how he's regretting all that. And now those books which seem to be a kind of a nuisance, a kind of nonsense, now seem to be having a lot of worth, right? All right, we go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. Okay, this is page 1. We'll do page 2. Okay, page 3. Page 4. Page. What is happening? So why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room? It was because they were sorry too that they had not gone to school more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service. So the master was there and he served for 40 years. Again, very important. We should highlight this. You should mark it, right? So he served for 40 years and it was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their respect for the country, for the nation that was theirs no more, that was now being controlled, that was now being dominated by some other country, by some other nation, and was not there anymore, right? So why the old men? So the old men had gathered. That's why the back benches were also filled, right? The old men had gathered over there and they were sitting there in the back of the room. It was because they were sorry. They were also regretting that they could not study, that they could not go to school in order to attend the classes, that they had not gone to school more, right? While I was thinking of all this, I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite. So now while I was thinking about all these thoughts, now it was my turn. I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite now. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participle all through very loud and clear without one mistake? But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there holding on to my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. So his heart started beating up, like literally our hearts do beat, but his heart started beating too much, and he could not even dare to look up because he knew that it was his fault and he was not prepared for participles and he was not prepared for reciting those participles, right? So I heard, just let me just check. Okay, we did this, right? We did this. Could I not have able to say that dreadful rule for the participle, all the very loud and clear, without one mistake? I have not to be given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participle all through very loud and clear and without any one mistake. But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there, holding onto my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. I heard M.HAMEL say to me, "I once scolded you, little Franz. You must feel bad enough." He said that he wouldn't be scolding him, but he should be feeling bad enough from inside because he did not study when he had time to study, right? So that's why I always say to my students that you should utilize your time, you should study when you have plenty of time to study. Otherwise, you don't get to study just like that. You're fortunate enough to be studying, to be there in the school, to be grateful for everything that you have got, right? Studies should not be taken as a burden. They should in fact be seen as, and studying a language is not at all a burden. Studying English is not at all a burden. It's a beautiful feeling, right? See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, bah, I've plenty of time, because you all also are in the habit of saying, I've plenty of time, oh, I'll just see it later on, we'll do this later on. But it never comes. That later never comes, right? So I want so bah, I've plenty of time, I'll learn it tomorrow. That tomorrow never comes. And now, you, as a teacher also, as an educator also, I know that tomorrow never comes. And now you see where we have come out. That's the great trouble with Alsace. She puts off learning till tomorrow. So now he's stating that that's the biggest trouble of this district, Alsace, that she puts off till learning till tomorrow. Now these fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it you pretend to be Frenchmen and you can neither speak nor write your own language? But you are not the worst, poor little France. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. Now stating that he is not the one who is the worst or poor, who is the worst out there. There are others also who are who have a great deal to reproach themselves with, right? Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm. So it's your parents' fault, it's your fault, it's my fault as an educator too. Now he's owning that fact, that your parents were not anxious enough. If they wouldn't have been anxious enough to have you, if they would have been anxious enough to have you learn, then it would have been better. But they preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills, so as to have a little money, more money. And I've been to blame also, and I have also to be, I'm also the person who has to be blamed. Why? Because have I not often sent you to water my flowers? So he also used to keep on sending children to water his flowers instead of making them learn their lessons. And when I wanted to go fishing, did he not send the children on holidays? So he used to say that now it's your holiday, because he wanted to go to fishing, right? Then from one thing to another, M.HAMEL went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful. So he talked about the French language. Now again, very important part. This is the map that we get to see, and he spoke about the French language being the most beautiful, the most logical language, clearest, the most logical, and that how we must guard it among us and never forget it. Because when people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they have the key to their prison. So if we have preserved our language, if we are the ones who have protected our language, to an extent we have protected our identity, to an extent we have protected our nation, we have the key to our prison. But as long as we do not, if we are not aware about our own language, our own identity, how will we be able to have the key to our enslavement, right? Then he opened a grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said seemed so easy, damn easy. I think too that I had never listened so carefully, because he did not pay attention earlier, but now everything seemed to be very, very easy, right? I'd never, why? Because now he was paying attention, now he was listening. Earlier, if he would have listened, then this situation would not have arrived, that he was not even aware